Because one thing we know is that if you win the election and you walk through the doors of Downing Street, almost the first thing that happens is that you're tapped on the shoulder by a senior civil servant who takes you off to a room to write 4 letters to the captains of Britain's nuclear submarines, telling them, instructing them what to do if this country is attacked in a nuclear strike. So what will you be telling them?
What I'll be saying is that I want us to achieve a nuclear-free world. What I want us to do is adhere to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and take part in negotiations surrounding that. And crucially...
And this goes in the letters of command.
No. Crucially, immediately promote the six-party talks on the Korean Peninsula as a way of de-escalating nuclear tensions around the world.
Because at that point, you have to say something to the commanders. You have to say, fire or don't fire. And you can't, you can't dodge it. You have to give them, in those letters, a strict instruction.
A strict instruction to follow orders when given.
So you don't tell them to fire or not to fire. They don't know what to do.
Listen, the issue has to be, we want a secure and peaceful world. We achieve that by promoting peace, by also promoting security, and security comes from that process.
But as Prime Minister, you have very, very fast decisions to take on all of this. Can I ask you directly, are there any circumstances in which you would authorise a nuclear strike? Any circumstances?
Look, I've made clear my views on nuclear weapons. I've made clear that there would be no first use of it. I've made clear that any use of nuclear weapons is disaster for the whole world. I think we should look at the process by which we achieve peace and security, because actually nuclear weapons are not the solution to the world's security issues. They're the disaster of the world's security issues if ever used. And that's why I would focus first on the issues of Korea, because I think that is where the greatest tensions are at the present time. But also, I'm very disturbed that the Trump administration is trying to unpick President Obama's deal with Iran, which was a huge step forward to bring Iran in from the cold and start to address issues of security there, as well, of course, as human rights issues in Iran.
So after those letters, about the next decision you have to take is which world leaders you call first. Who do you call?
Well, I think you call the European leaders, you call President Trump, you call President Putin, you call the Prime Minister of India, you call the President of China, you call all the members of the Security Council, including those that are short-term members in the sense they're on for one term. So you build a relationship there, and I would immediately call the General Secretary of the United Nations.
And do you tell him and President Trump that we are no longer a nuclear-armed power?
What I say is, I want to meet you, I want to talk to you, I want us to work together for a secure and peaceful world, and then offer to meet them as soon as possible, all of them.
Because in terms of actual making of policy, we are in a new situation now because of this election. The Trident gateway vote happened, but this is a chance to reopen the whole question. Would a Labour government cancel the Trident programme?
We will have a strategic defence review immediately, which will include all aspects of defence, as most incoming governments do, actually. In fact, I think all have. And we would then look at the situation at that time. But we would also make sure that our armed forces are properly funded and our armed forces are able to play their part because in peacekeeping around the world.
This is still an entirely unresolved question as to what you're going to do. Neil Griffiths, your defence spokesman, has said very clearly that keeping Trident will be in the Labour manifesto, will it?
We haven't completed work on the manifesto yet. As you'd expect, we're less than 100 hours into this election campaign, so let's...
she could be in for a shock.
No, we're having that discussion within the Labour Party, and we will produce our manifesto early in May.